Hello, and welcome to the Postal Pleasures channel. Today we're going to take a look at the second half of an amazing grab bag sent in by viewer Tan Draig. I really was so impressed with the quality of all the stamps. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at the first part of this video. If not, I'll put a link up on the screen now. And Tan, thank you so much. And I did also really appreciate the postcard with the installation of your artwork and the nice note on the back. I know I mentioned that in the first video, but I still just wanted you to know again. Anyway, well, without further ado, let's get started and look and see what we find in the second half. Okay, I've cleaned the slate and we're down to a stock card and an envelope. I'll start laying them out from there. So, firstly, we have this U.S. Buffalo, 30 cents. This is from the 1920s. Really neat having a buffalo on a stamp. And then it looks like we have another Barbados stamp here. So Nelson, Trafalgar. So this is going to be Lord Nelson, I believe. Neat statue. And then I see what looks like a couple of early French stamps. So there's a 30 cent. Can't quite read that postmark. I want to say maybe a 70 down there, so maybe 1870. Really nice. I think this is known as Ceres. And another what looks like Ceres here, 15 centimeters, with the cancel with the numbers 2488. So I'll be looking that up and or reaching out to the community of experts to see if they know what post office that might represent, if it indeed represents post offices. And then here, this is just amazing me. I have actually never had a Hawaiian stamp before, and here is a Hawaiian stamp, a 2 cent Hawaii. Really, really neat. Beautiful stamp. I really can't get over this. I've never, I don't even know that I've seen one with my own eyes. And believe it or not just one, but here's another one, a 5 cent Hawaiian stamp. This is just incredibly exciting. I really can't appreciate these enough. And yet a third Hawaiian stamp here. I'm guessing that's going to be King Kamehameha, a statue. That's pretty neat. I really, really can't get over these. Next up is Netherlands Indies, 10 cent. This looks like an older stamp as well. That's pretty neat. And then here we have Switzerland, 25 francs it looks like. And let's see, we have a Malaya. So that's neat. Been in the vicinity. I've been to Singapore 3 times, and actually, so Straits Settlement is very, very similar, I believe, to Singapore. Singapore may have been part of the Straits Settlement, if I'm not mistaken. And this one's a Perfin I'm actually seeing. Looks like B and C Co, or maybe it's B. Well, it would be B and Co, maybe. Normally you can look at the back and they're easier to read, but there's a bunch of old hinges on this one, which I think will come off no trouble with a little sweatbox work. But yeah, that's really, really neat. I actually like Straits Settlement stamps. When I started doing worldwide, I kind of tuned in on those very quickly, and so I have a few, but certainly not even half of what can be had. But it's a small collection, and they're not prohibitively expensive, so it's a fun one to collect because I guess it could be completed. So here we are with a Great Britain stamp, a halfpence. There we go. Oh, look at this neat one. So this one is Belgian Congo, and it's an airmail with the airplane. Looks like an eagle motif up there, and it looks like maybe a village or at least a couple buildings. That's really, really neat. Belgian Congo. Put that one right across the top, and looks like I can fit one more in the corner there. So this is going to be Ireland. Ireland, I think this series has a couple different watermarks, so different time periods of printing the same image. I can't pick it up here, but usually over a little bit of black I can pick them up and see what they are. Not that I remember which one is which anyway, without a reference catalog. So here we have another Canadian stamp, 1917, 3 cent. Canada postage, Confederation. Really nice. I'll start that one over here as well. And then lastly, from the stock card, which I'm now going to set out of the way, we have this Principality of Monaco. Really nice and mint. Fantastic. So now we're into the envelope. And this is the last grouping of this incredibly large and generous lot. Very well packed as well. And I open the envelope and give a quick picture here of what we might have. So firstly I see India, 1 Anna. That's nice. And then look at this. So this is a Belgian stamp. And I see these quite often with the lower label detached, but rarely with it attached, and certainly less common with the label from the stamp above it still attached to it. So that's a neat little combination, if you will. Just due to length differences, I'll do that. I'll try to even up my lines. And then who do we have here? Australia, an airplane stamp. That's always nice. Wacket, 1944. I haven't heard of that. I assume that's the style of airplane. I haven't heard of that kind of airplane before. Looks like a few more Australias here. So I think this is an emu, 5.5 pence. And here's a globe with a person in front of it. 1 and 6. So a fairly high denomination one. That's nice. And here we have a 2 pence, Australia. An Australian peace issue. I've seen this before, 1945. I think celebrating the end of the war. It's a wonderful stamp. Neat cancel there. Can't really make out what it is. Maybe an expert would be able to make that one out, but it looks like a slogan cancel of some kind. Antigua. Great. Looks like a coronation issue. These are coronation issues are fairly common, but honestly I don't find that many used, so that's pretty neat. And another Indian stamp, 3 Annas, December 26th is the postmark. December of 1926, December 8th of 1926 it looks like. And another India one, 4 Annas. Ceylon, nice. Which, if I'm not mistaken, becomes Sri Lanka at some point. Again, over here in the Singapore, Malaya area, Straits area. Another Canada, 7 cent airmail. That's a wonderful one. Put it down here over by the other Canada. And I have seen these berries recently. Yep, Canada. I think one of the last times I was working on Canada, I came across this berry series. There's a couple different berries in the series. This is nice though, having a conjoined pair. And I actually like the small postmark. I wish the US would do some small postmarks like that. I've noticed them on several countries where they fit the smaller stamps a little better, so you're more likely to have the whole postmark, which is quite nice to have. This is a neat Canadian one. 1969 it looks like. Not sure what's up and what's down. I'm going to go like this. Although I can read it really from any direction. And what is this Canada one? I don't think I've seen this before. I have a decent Canadian collection, but some of this stuff is putting my collection to shame. This is a $1. It's got, looks like fish nets, a fisherman. Looks like a tuna in there, a clam, a seal, and a bunch of other fish, maybe a codfish. That's a really neat stamp. I like that a lot. Here we have, looks like probably another airmail. At least it's an airplane stamp. I actually don't see that it says airmail anywhere on it. But it says 1919. It's a biplane. And Canadian $1 with a giant, looks like maybe a ferry boat next. Makes the sailboat next to it look very small. Let's put it that way. And here's another stamp from Straits Settlements. And here's another Canadian one. 10 cents. Saba, an interesting Saba. It's a North Borneo stamp, overprinted with Saba. I'm not familiar with Saba, so I'm going to definitely have to look that up and learn a little something. I always like it when I can find something I've never seen before or known about before. This is a Spanish stamp, I believe part of a fairly early series of big, beautiful stamps, a lot of them with these galleons. I know I have quite a bit from this series, but I don't think I've ever seen these triangle ones. And I'm only assuming it's from the same series because they look very similar. So this is really neat. I don't think I've seen this particular stamp before. It's, of course, a beautiful, beautiful triangle stamp, and, ships. Who doesn't love that? This looks like a salmon, most likely. Although it's hard to tell, could be a porpoise. It really is hard to tell. This particular series of stamp has an interesting style of artwork that's maybe not particularly exact. Bailiwick of Guernsey, and this is a stamp of a stamp, again with a nice tiny postmark. That's a really nice stamp. I'm going to pull these down just so I have a little more room. I know I actually have quite a bit of room below me, so I think we'll have room for all these. Here's a Maltese stamp. I recently did a big trade with Malta, but it was mostly new stuff. So this is really neat seeing an older one. A really nice blue on that one as well. Looks like a mint Tonga. Yeah. And it's got an airplane. It doesn't say airmail. It says post office. Nuku Olfa? I'm not sure. But a 5-pence Tonga. And I love how it's, mostly the sepia, if I'm going to guess the color, ink, but it does have blue ink in the sky. That's a neat touch. Here we have a Sarawak coming up. That's really, really neat. It's a tree Tarbus. The cancel's making it hard to read, and it's quite small and far from my eyes, so we'll probably be able to read it together once I take a picture and add that to the video. So, a 3 pies Indian stamp. A Gold Coast Independence. Ghana Independence. This is going to be basically Ghana. This is post-independence overprinted using the old stamps by the new government. That's pretty neat. Love it, and it's used, which I like. And here's a really nice pair of unused mint Indian service stamps, which is actually nice for me as well, because most of my Indian stamps are used, so nice having a mint one here and there. Here are some interesting animals. Looks like a type of rodent. Rock Dassy, really neat. Botswana. I'm not familiar with that type of animal. Some butterflies from Kenya. I think this is part of a fairly large butterfly series. And here we have some native people. It's called Indians of Subarctic. That's pretty neat. And we have an Aden Victory issue, 1945. And a Canada. And it looks like some maple seeds in the grass. Let's see, is this going to fit? Yeah, that fits on screen still. And that looks like we're going to get into these Indian states. So, forgive me if I pronounce them incorrectly, but Cochin and Shal. Looks like there's a handful of these here. Another 2 pies. And another 2 pies. And then a pair of overprinted. That's really interesting. It looks like an overprint here with the 2. 3 pies with a 2 above it. I'll have to look those up. I've never had a horizontal pair like that either. That's really neat. And India postage, half Anna. 1.5 Anna, 1.5 Anna. Looks like another mint India postage, 8 Annas. A 1 Anna service stamp. Looks like a pair here, separate pair, of India 2 Annas. 3 pies. There's another 3 pies. 3 pies, and there can be some mint mark differences. Or not mint mark, I'm sorry. There could be some watermark differences on some of these Indian ones as well. Usually fairly easy to see, but again, I don't have a black background here to work with. And so lastly, this is the last one, is 1 Anna and 3 Pies, again, Indian postage. And that covers this lot. What a humongous lot. I really can't thank him enough. So thanks a lot, Tan Draig. I really appreciate it.